Here we are?
Yeah.
Live, baby. Hi, guys. Good to see everyone. I'm calling this the Touching Grass panel because these ladies run real brands with real customers and real physical products, so we can't wait to get into it. Let's get this party started. Are we ready to go, guys? Yeah? Go ahead. Okay, I'm Ty. I'm the founder and CEO of Try Your Best. We are a community rewards platform that allows brands to directly work with and incentivize their fans for valuable action. I spent 8 years in the direct-to-consumer world building a company called Outdoor Voices, and in a lot of ways experienced the brokenness of the model of D2C. And so very excited about our topic today, which is on-chain commerce, and the ability to move away from these discovery-optimized ad platforms, which have, for so long, controlled our data. I'll introduce Winnie first. She's a principal at BlockTower Ventures, primarily focused in the DeFi and crypto space. She's also an investor at TYB. We have Natalie Browne. She runs community and social impact at Topicals. Have any of you guys, I'm sure you've heard of Topicals. Woo-woo! Fastest growing skincare brand at Sephora, right?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have Kristi, and she is the fractional CMO of Chillhouse. Who knows Chillhouse? Who's been? I have, I need a Chillhouse nail right now, damn it. Okay, you got me? And also she's the community lead at Saysh. Familiar with Saysh? Okay. Allison Felix, really impressive Olympic gold medalist many times over, has come out with this really lovely and awesome female-focused running shoe and running brand. So really excited to get into it. Winnie, I'm going to start with you. What the fuck is on-chain commerce, and why, as brands and fans, should we care?
Yeah, on-chain commerce. It's a buzzy new topic and term recently. I think of it as this new era of connected commerce where you basically have a user's wallet tied to someone's like social graph and their interest graph. I think previously in Web 2 and in the West, that's not been possible because financial data, what's on your credit card, what's in your bank account, has always been separate from your Facebook, TikTok algorithm and recommendations, right? But with crypto and kind of, the advent of bringing that together, you're able to kind of build new experiences. Let me talk about it from both the user perspective and kind of the brand's perspective. So on the user perspective, more rewards, better loyalty. You also are able to incentivize your most engaged community members in ways that otherwise wouldn't be possible. You also have better fees because you are transacting now on crypto rails versus Web 2 like platforms, which have high transaction costs that are passed on to the customers. Number 3, there's also just better attribution. Currently, only influencers and brands with large budgets can kind of, have enough marketing dollars to spend on these budgets. But with crypto, you can kind of influence and have the right attribution so that micro-influencers and smaller creators can get a cut of that as well. Overall, more co-creation opportunities we'll talk about later, and just overall a better engagement platform. And then for the brand side, it's just like, how do you build direct, more touch points with your users? In this like increasingly cookieless world, brands need to think about, the rising CAC and how to kind of combat that and how to have more direct touch points and how to better engage their users.
Love it. Natalie, Kristi, is there any relevance with the term on-chain within your guys' orgs? Do your teams talk about it? What's kind of the reception to blockchain, on-chain? Talk to us.
I love this context because we don't. We truly do not think about it. It's not something that comes up. It's not something we really even linger on too much outside of like collectibles, which is how like TYB frames NFTs. But we don't even particularly use that language at all. It's not something that we linger on. How about you?
Yeah, same. I loved what Carrie from Mattel said earlier about the user experience, because I think every single person on my team has no idea that it's blockchain, but they know that it's really cool, it's really easy to use, and it's valuable to the consumer.
And I like that. Like, I feel like this new era, they kind of obfuscate all the crypto complexities and blockchain, and they kind of present to the end user in a way that's different.
Yeah.
And so a key theme in crypto and something that at TYB we focus on is a theme around ownership. And really kind of the North Star vision for us is how do we create a toolkit an ecosystem that enables, let's say, the next Nike to be community founded, led, and owned. I think there's a number of phases that are required ahead of this North Star to like truly get users and brands into this network. I'm curious, like from an ownership perspective for you guys in brand building, having an owned channel as part of your tech stack, what does that mean?
Yeah, that's really where the value is for us, is like having this space where we can interact directly with our, consumer, with our community, and having the space for us, like the utility of the tool and having the tool itself really allows us, and like as a, somebody who owns a community, somebody who's a director of a community, be able to like say like we have this value, having the data is where the value is for us.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna make a joke because I was sending Natalie an article at 1 a.m. last night. It's like it was the new Vogue business article about Gen Z broke the marketing funnel, and just light reading at 1 a.m.
Yeah, take a look at this.
But they talked a lot about frictionless access and how Gen Z and millennials are wanting that, and so that's what I think about a lot. Like similar to what you said, like access to them directly, and it's fun and frictionless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that, actually. I feel like TYB, and this is what I always say to people, it doesn't feel hard. It feels like it's already how Gen Z knows how to interact. It feels like they already know how to, it's natural for them in a way that, it wasn't before.
Yeah, and also like the brands that I lead community or marketing at, the eldest like consumers are in their 50s, some of the youngest are in their 18, 20, even teens, and it's frictionless across the board, which I think is like really key for me leading a lot of different brands and building communities, et cetera, is across different demographics.
Yeah, I think the key here is all about adoption, and so the way that we have phased this is we've focused on the ambassador and loyalty use case first. So quite simply, what TYB the Toolkit allows you to do in a brand's world is onboard your closest fans via a collectible. It looks and feels like a souvenir from your brand. These guys can go into kind of more specifics. But the important thing is it's a familiar kind of brand asset or something that people are desiring that gets them to join, and then it formalizes their ID on chain. So it lives in their wallet. They own this piece of the brand. In my past, if you're familiar with Outdoor Voices, we had a physical version of this called the Blue Doing Things hat. And it was used in kind of this play-to-earn type way. So you had to come participate in the mission of the brand, which was to move your body. Could be a yoga class, a walk on the trail here, et cetera, didn't matter. But you had to come participate in the brand, and then you'd get this Blue Doing Things hat. It then became the signifier of your belonging to the community, and you'd high-five people on the trail and be like, we're part of the same group, we are part of OV. And so we've essentially created that same first touch point as part of this great game around your brand with these digital collectibles that formalize your ID on chain and then give you access as a user into this brand's community and world. The next step is once you're in, you're interacting with other fans of the brand. And I have a question around for you guys in a moment on this. But then you're interacting with other fans of the brand and completing challenges. So prompts, things like sharing to social, submitting reviews, all of these brand value add type actions that we're doing kind of on the Instagrams of the world, but all in one place. And the key here is that it's rewarded. And so I'm in here, I'm interacting, and I'm earning brand coins, which then can be redeemed on the brand's Shopify site. And ultimately, that's the flow or the game that we're helping brands create. Natalie, will you kind of describe Topicals' version of this?
Yeah.
You guys started with the ambassador use case and then walked up to full Spotty Hottie rewards.
Yeah, we had an ambassador program. I think Topicals itself is really built on community, right? It's really connected. It's really telling a story. Beauty itself also is, it's so connected, right? It's something that happens in your bathroom. It's something that's so personal. So it's like, how do you really take that to the next level? So we started with our ambassador program. They're called our insiders. I started at the same time as we launched on TYB. So it's always been something that's really integrated into our story. But I think it really just takes that experience to the next level. It allows us to not only just like communicate with our customers and with our audience, but it's like, we have challenges. TYB has challenges. You're able to like pose questions. You're allowing them to engage with you, and it just feels so natural. It allows me to bridge the gap between what our brand needs, whether it be like our creative team and they're trying to pick, what merch do we do, or if it's our social team and they really want to, push our audience to engage with something on social. It's like everyone is able to kind of utilize and tap into TYB, and that allows me, as in my role, to be able to connect all the pieces together.
Mm-hmm. And you guys were our first brand to launch. We now have over 60, which is awesome.
Yes.
But we've really co-created this experience with you, and I remember early on, we brought the insiders onto the platform. I think there were less than 1,000.
Yes.
And kind of the initial focus was to create kind of on a monthly basis high quality UGC. The Topicals quickly learned by leaning into and surveying this group that about 10% of the community were estheticians. And so then spun up kind of a next segment called the experts group.
Exactly. So we have our Topicals itself is around is science backed, and really like figuring out how we can tap into that further was saying like, yes, we have this group of estheticians, right? That's really close and important to our brand. So creating a separate space for them was the next segment that we grew into.
And then the third segment was the full-blown rewards.
Yeah, so after that, and we saw such success, we were like, this is great. We figured out how to use it. We figured out how it works for our brand. How does it add value? We ended up moving our entire loyalty program over to TYB. So yeah, like thousands and thousands of people. So now we're over 10K. But yeah, really taking what was like a really traditional loyalty program and like moving it onto this space, which is like just a totally different way of interacting with our customers, has been super successful.
And I think what excites us at TYB the most is the incentive mechanism and continuing to align incentives between brands and fans. Like that's the future here, and what gets, I know, Winnie in the crypto space excited as well. But from an adoption standpoint, loyalty has been kind of the first place to play. I think the second phase, I call it community commerce, but it's where we start to use smart contracts to power things like revenue-based rewards or ownership in a co-created style. Winnie, you got to co-create a product with Joggy.
Yeah.
Will you talk to us about that experience?
Yeah, so Joggy's also one of the first few brands that were launched on TYB's platform, and I think early on, I'm a Joggy Doggy holder, which is a collectible. We were kind of putting together a better for you energy drink that was going to combat Red Bull and kind of go after that segment. And we kind of filled out a ton of surveys. We got a few samples that were sent to us, and then over the process of like a few weeks, we were able, as community members, to co-create this new energy drink. And
Ta-da!
it's
Here we
awesome.
are.
It's 150 milligrams of caffeine, love caffeine, over-caffeinated. But it's like better than Red Bull. And it's awesome because the community members are bought in. We want to be brand ambassadors for it. We want to share it. And with these smart contracts, it's cool because I have no following on Instagram, but if I share with my friends, you're able to kind of get a part of that revenue. And traditionally, that will only be available to like large influencers, celebrities, and whatnot. So it's super cool.
So yeah, in this first phase, it's all about game creation and kind of game mechanics applied to this loyalty program. If I think about brand building, there's really 4 parts. It starts with kind of a clear mission and reason for being. The second is rituals for activation. The third is connection, and so connecting kind of these fans of a brand for the first time. And the fourth is incentivization. Kristi, with both Saysh and Chillhouse, there's a lot of emphasis on IRL and kind of physical activation. Will you talk to us about some of the run clubs and some of those engagement pieces that now you can connect to kind of the whole customer story?
I would love to. For context, I have worked with over 500 CPG brands, and so having a tool like TYB has been a godsend. With Saysh specifically, we launched a run club this past February. We've had hundreds of people come through to this run club. They earn a collectible that is, turned in for merch. They earn coins that they can redeem off of shoes in person or, sneakers online, etc. And then Chillhouse, if you know Chillhouse, you know that they have a physical location in New York City, in Soho, and then they're also in thousands of Targets, Urban Outfitters, online, kind of all over the place, which we love and we worked hard for. And we're able to activate our New York segment. So if you're in New York, you get a specific collectible, you come into Matcha Mornings on Monday mornings at 8 a.m., take part in the community activation, and you earn rewards for that. And historically, with hundreds of brands I've worked with, there hasn't been a way to really measure or monetize that in a way that's not just like selling, products right there. or making people feel a feeling or feel connected. But now we can measure that, which has been absolutely massive.
I love it, and both of you guys have spoken about kind of this convergence of brand and performance or growth marketers. Talk to us about kind of the current state, and I think your vision is that this comes together and this is potentially a tool that helps both of those worlds collide.
Yeah, I mean, my team literally sits like on our growth and brand teams. I always talk about this like left brain, right brain. But no, truly, I think that us having access to data and being able to quantify engagement and being able to have this own channel outside of our social channels is huge, right? And so now we're able to speak to how our community impacts, LTV. Like, how is it affecting our sales channels? How are we leveraging TYB for our product launches? And it's been such an integrated part of our marketing strategy in every launch that we do. Honestly, everything we do. It's a lot of internal education that needs to take place, right? Community is so new. What is community? I'm sure people are like, what is that? But no, having a tool like TYB truly is really helpful, because it's not just, like we're interacting with our customers through DMs anymore, right? We're not having conversations in the comment section. It's something beyond that, right? It really elevates that experience to the next level in a way that, in this post D2C world is super necessary and important.
Yeah, I think also right now, if you're building a brand well, you're building it with community. People don't want to be marketed to, they don't want to be sold to, they want to be a part of it. And they're not just loyal to one brand, they're loyal to many, but they want to purchase often from a brand. And so I think being able to look at it through a holistic lens of having community like truly integrated into the business, and having real measurable like data. I mean, I've spent probably a decade of my career not being able to bring like real data around community. So I feel like a badass now that I can, quite frankly.
I know, it's like we're part of the gang of people.
I'm like, here's your data.
What is the data?
Yeah.
For TYB,
Yeah.
curious, I think you have it.
Yeah, we do. We recently launched a feature called Community Commerce, and it's cool because we have an integration with Shopify, which again allows users to redeem their coins for product. We're able to visualize essentially purchase data connected to this engagement. And so what that allows everyone here to do is start to understand what types of engagement ultimately net more valuable customers. And so this was something that I had a hard time answering kind of in my past at Outdoor Voices. As we were able to kind of like patch together the data, which wasn't easy because a lot of this engagement was orchestrated across a variety of channels, we found that people who showed up to events were ultimately 4 times more valuable than someone who just shopped with us online. And so I think that's quite intuitive these days, but what we've really focused on is giving these guys the toolkit to make community less of a fluffy term and instead position it as business critical within the organizations. Winnie, I'm curious, from a loyalty standpoint, there's a lot that blockchain can enable. I think from TYB's perspective, we view a better experience being one portal into rewards and relationships with your favorite brands that all start to speak with one another. As we kind of think forward to blockchain enabling commerce, like what types of interactions and value kind of unlock are you excited about?
Yeah, I think loyalty and blockchain kind of go hand in hand. To me, the North Star is like loyalty as a wedge to more interesting experiences and primitives. In crypto, we have DeFi, which a lot of us are familiar with, where you have this interoperable network of different tokens, as well as NFTs, and they have separate marketplaces. What excites me is this new network of, we have Topicals coins, we have Saysh coins, and how can we create new marketplaces and experiences if the brands airdrop you certain tokens or certain rewards, and how can users can interact with them and trade with each other. That's like the North Star that I'm excited about. And then on top of that, once you have this ownership into this token network, how can you reward maybe your top 100 most engaged community members with actual equity potentially into the business? I think in Joggy, you guys were experimenting with something like that, where some of the early holders got a percentage of the cap table, which I think is super interesting because early users should be rewarded.
I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for being here. Very, very exciting. If you guys haven't, check out Topicals, Saysh, Chillhouse, .tyb.xyz, each on their own, and get your collectibles. And thank you very much. Thanks, Boys Club, for having us.